Have you been to Havana, the magnificent capital of Cuba, the city of rum, cigars and Castro? They say Havana's charm is so hard to resist that once you've been there, you'll want to come back for more. But 5 years back, some strange events occurred in Havana, events that forced American diplomats to leave the place with a promise to never return. This happened barely 3 weeks after America elected this man, Donald Trump. So why did the diplomats leave? Because they had started hearing strange noises at their homes and hotel rooms. What sort of noises? The wind at night? A creak in the house? No. The diplomats described these noises as laser-like beams of sound aimed at them from no obvious source. They said it sounded something like this. Disorienting, isn't it? The sound has perplexed doctors for years. Because most people who heard it for a prolonged time ended up falling ill. The symptoms were diverse and terrifying. It started with dizziness, evolved into headaches, then into insomnia, followed by hearing problems, and ultimately led to memory loss. Whom do we blame for all of this? What exactly is the source of this sound? Insects? Electromagnetic waves? Toxic chemicals in the air? Mass hysteria? Or some unexplained natural phenomenon? There are no easy answers to these questions, only theories and the fear that this could be a new weapon of war. Hello and welcome to Gravitas Plus. I'm Palki Sharma Upadhyay and I come to you with one of the weirdest medical stories of our times. It begins in 2016 when a total of 24 American diplomats were evacuated from Cuba for testing and treatment. All diplomats in question had fallen sick after hearing the mysterious sound we just played for you. The news began spreading in the US media. The unexplained sickness was branded the Havana Syndrome. The American president called this sickness an attack, accusing Cuba of perpetrating it.
I do believe Cuba is responsible. I do believe that. And it's a very unusual attack, as you know, but I do believe Cuba is responsible, yes.
But Cuba denied any role. It scoffed at the notion of the sound being a weapon and accused America of not letting it investigate the sickness.
The United States authorities left Cuba all responsibility for the investigations of the events, the determination of their cause and its elimination, but did not really get involved in the process as befits an affected country.
1 year later, the sickness resurfaced, this time in Uzbekistan. A diplomat and his wife reported an acoustic attack similar to the one experienced by diplomats in Havana. They were both called back. Another year, another story emerged, this time from China. 2 American diplomats stationed in Guangzhou started hearing piercing sounds that almost led to a brain injury. Beijing said it had no idea what happened.
We know that US embassy staff in China were allegedly affected by certain sound wave-related issues even earlier. The relevant Chinese authorities have already conducted a serious investigation and given feedback to the US. As of now, we haven't found any causes or clues that may have led to this situation.
Over the next 3 years, a total of 130 cases of such sonic attacks were reported by US government officials the world over. In countries and regions like Russia, Poland, Georgia, Taiwan, Australia, Colombia and Kyrgyzstan, to name just a few. And it wasn't just the Americans who experienced it. The list of victims included diplomats from Canada too. We are in 2021 now, and the Havana Syndrome has resurfaced again. Since US President Joe Biden took office in January, more than 20 American officials have reported symptoms similar to the Havana Syndrome. Most of them are from Vienna, which is being called the new hotspot of this sickness. The city has reported the largest number of cases since the syndrome first emerged. But why are the attacks happening in Vienna? America says it's because Vienna is a den of spies, that it has a long history of international espionage, and it's possible that spies from China and Russia are looking to make American officials sick, looking to sabotage their operations, get access to sensitive information. But is there any basis to such claims? Is the Havana Syndrome really a weapon of war? Let's look at what science says. To start with, no one is certain who is behind the attacks. Officially, America has not pointed the finger at any country or at any specific cause, but there are plenty of theories that are being considered, that have been considered. Some of them may sound bizarre because they really are. The first theory comes from the University of Michigan. In 2018, a team of computer scientists at this university said that ultrasound from malfunctioning or improperly placed Cuban surveillance equipment could have been the origin of the sounds reported. They said this acoustic interference may not really have malicious intent. The theory did not find many takers, probably because it said there was no villain. So another theory emerged, this time from the University of California. Scientists at this university analyzed the sounds recorded by American diplomats. They concluded that the sound was caused by crickets and not a technological device. They said the sound, power spectrum and pulse of a rare jungle cricket matched the sound that the diplomats heard. But how could 24 of them fall sick hearing insects? The theory was junked. Then in 2019, Canada carried out a study. This was after 23 Canadian diplomats reported hearing similar sounds. The study found that what they heard could be the result of their exposure to chemicals or pesticides. The embassies in Cuba had been sprayed frequently to control the spread of the Zika virus, so the study concluded that exposure to infectious agents cannot be ruled out as one of the causes. The fourth theory is mass hysteria. Some experts believe that the symptoms reported by American diplomats are so similar that they represent episodes of mass hysteria, like the dancing plagues of the Middle Ages. And what exactly is mass hysteria? It's simply a mental illness that spreads through a group of people, mostly people who share beliefs related to the illness and are gripped by a common fear that they're sick. Basically, it's a delusional disorder. And this is a grey area. There's a lot of uncertainty as to how this works. The fifth and the last theory is the most commonly accepted. It was floated last year by America's National Academies of Sciences, the NAS. This body carried out a study commissioned by the US State Department and claimed that microwave weapons could be a plausible cause of the Havana Syndrome. How does this work now? Microwave weapons are supposed to be a type of direct energy weapons, which can aim highly focused energy in the form of sonic or laser at a target. These weapons are small. They can be easily hidden. According to the report, the immediate symptoms the patients reported emanated from a particular direction or occurred at a specific spot in a room. And this makes microwave weapons the most likely cause of the Havana Syndrome. What about the culprit? The most likely culprit. The report says this kind of microwave technology was first developed in the Soviet Union. So it all ultimately comes down to Russia and this leader. Does the American government agree with these assertions? When the study was published, the US State Department appreciated the effort, welcomed the findings, but said that each possible cause, including the ones I just mentioned, remains speculative and that investigations will continue to take place. Now, I understand this story can be a bit hard to digest. First of all, there's a sickness that exists, and the best of scientists cannot figure out what's causing it. Secondly, the sickness is being reported in American diplomats only, diplomats whom America won't even name. And third, the countries it is being reported in are Cuba, China, and Russia, America's usual enemies. Even in Austria, only American diplomats are on target. There's reason to consider this yet another Hollywood trope, like the ones where aliens only attack America or its neighbor Canada. But 130 incidents is no small number. If there is indeed a mind-bending weapon out there, one that can steal information or make you go mad, then the world must collectively investigate these attacks, because we can't risk the lives of diplomats, and we certainly can't risk this invisible weapon falling into the hands of non-state actors or terror outfits. So what America needs to do, if it really wants the world to believe its claims, is end the mystery around the sickness, stop investigating it alone, and call for an international probe with what it calls like-minded countries. That's what they would have suggested had it been any other country complaining of the Havana Syndrome.
Gravitas Plus, co-presented by Skoda, made of smart imagination.